Hello all and welcome back. I hope everyone is doing really well. Well. What a monumentous announcement that we've just had, which has sent the price of HBAR surging nearly 36% in the space of pretty much a couple of hours, majority of it coming over the last hour or so. In fact, it is such a large announcement that potentially this could be the first of many coming through in order to catapult Hedera into the top 10 when it comes to cryptocurrency market cap. I think it's safe to say as well, many of us that have been investing and around Hedera for the last few years haven't seen any sort of price action as volatile effectively as this move that we have seen. Now, what's effectively caused all of the buzz is, of course, BlackRock. Yes, the BlackRock, the 10 trillion assets under management money manager effectively, has finally tokenized a money market fund on Hedera. Now, many of you that have been watching these videos for quite a long time know I've been a huge advocate and proponent of real-world asset tokenization, and I've been beating the drum for the last year, maybe even two, when it comes to how important real-world asset tokenization is because of how many different areas of life, how many different areas of society that it reaches into in order to lower the barriers to entry for majority of these products. So before we jump into what this announcement actually is and what it entails, let's do a quick recap on tokenization and also Larry Fink, of course, behind BlackRock. And we saw those spot Bitcoin ETFs as well. There's been a huge move recently towards leveraging cryptocurrencies in order to reduce those barriers to entry. Tokenization is changing the game for financial markets, said Larry Fink and other insiders. That's the same Larry Fink who 5 or so, maybe 6 years ago, turned around and said that cryptocurrency was a scam. So majority of these people now, the heads of these companies that were once sort of antiquated in their ways, have obviously begun to understand the benefits and the power of cryptocurrency. So the idea here behind tokenization involves representing ownership of a real-world asset such as a stock, bond, real estate or commodity as a digital token. These tokens are then stored and transferred securely on the blockchain, or of course any form of DLT, providing a transparent and immutable record of ownership and enabling fractional ownership, more importantly, as well as increased liquidity and the potential of automation of transactions. So there are some of the benefits. Financial service firms are starting to explore tokenizing cash, which we've just seen effectively happen. McKinsey estimates that around $120 billion is already tokenized in the form of stablecoins. And actually, in terms of other money market funds, we've got Aberdeen already on Hedera that has done this, and probably why BlackRock had been eyeing up Hedera in order to launch this money market fund as a tokenized asset on Hedera, because we've already got a large, not the same scale of large, but a large money manager already tokenizing real-world assets on Hedera. While this represents a significant market development, it has not yet reached a tipping point in terms of widespread adoption, and that is still the case. We are seeing it begin to take hold though. When interest rates are high, for example, the difference between a 1 hour and a 24-hour transaction can equal a lot of money. And that was from a McKinsey analyst, therefore saying the capability of digital asset teams within financial institutions could further drive adoption because of the various different benefits that we foresee. Of course, here more information about Larry Fink, the CEO of the asset management giant BlackRock, being a champion of this vision. We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets, and clearly they are putting that into practice. Right then, so now we know what effectively real-world asset tokenization is, or tokenization of those real-world assets, and how it can be incredibly diverse from commodities such as gold bullion through to homes, through to financial assets in different wrappers. Tokenization is certainly something that TradFi is looking to move towards. Here's the announcement from the HBAR Foundation. Today we witness real-world asset tokenization history as BlackRock's ICS US Treasury Money Market Fund, or MMF, is tokenized on Hedera with Archax and Onera, marking a major milestone in asset management by bringing the world's largest asset manager on-chain home to Hedera. This development builds on the growing portfolio of institutional real-world assets on Hedera already, with the governing council member Aberdeen, the UK's largest active wealth manager, tokenizing its flagship multi-billion pound MMF on Hedera last year. This additional BlackRock MMF along with existing offerings, are all available directly on the Archax platform, as well as through connected networks available to professional and institutional clients. Through the tokenization of this additional MMF, the best-in-class combination of speed, security, and low fixed fees of Hedera are further validated, and we look forward to welcoming in the next wave of global traditional finance institutions to the network for real-world asset tokenization. You can learn more about the MMF in our latest HBAR blog. I will touch on that, and I'll also, of course, leave it linked down in the description. But those of you may be curious to know what this BlackRock ICS US Treasury fund is exactly. Well, of course, it's a money market fund, so the fund seeks preservation of principal, i.e. the initial amount, hence why we see a NAV of $1 currently, and same-day liquidity through the maintenance of a portfolio of high-quality short-term government debt and repurchase agreements. The fund will invest in US Treasury bills, notes, and other obligations issued or guaranteed by the US government, and repurchase agreements where the associated collateral is secured by any of the preceding obligations. It's basically one of the lowest risk forms of bonds and treasury bills, for example, they are holding. There's obviously no risk premium here. Incredibly low risk, which you can see here. In fact, if you scroll down into just beyond the portfolio characteristics, you look at the holdings, you can see they're all sort of short-term treasury or T-bills and different various types of bonds out of the United States. 67% of it's US Treasury debt, and then 33%, roughly a third of it, is US Treasury repurchase agreements. Cool. So a very typical money market fund that's been launched. If we take a quick look then into the actual thread itself, let's do a deep dive quickly into what Archax is. Archax is the first FCA, so Financial Conduct Authority here in the UK, regulated digital asset exchange, broker and custodian. Today they announced that it is expanding the range of fund shares it offers in tokenized form with the provision of BlackRock ICS US Treasury Money Market Fund in partnership with the HBAR Foundation. This builds on its launch of tokenized access to Aberdeen's MMFs last year, which Archax has created on both Hedera and Ethereum blockchains. So we have seen things like this go live on Ethereum as well in the past. This additional BlackRock MMF, along with the existing offerings, are all available directly on the Archax platform, as well as through those connected networks. Of course, Hedera, the open source proof of stake public ledger, was completed across the Onera Fin peer-to-peer digital asset network. So we take a quick look at what Onera is. Onera is a technology company delivering interoperability solutions to the world of tokenized assets. Onera's routers enable global distribution and liquidity by connecting tokenized assets distributed by sell-side institutions to buy-side demands. They're basically a market maker by the sounds of it. The routers facilitate the messaging, negotiation, and the settlement of transactions between the counterparties and their various regulated service providers, including custodians, broker-dealers, transfer agents, cash providers, lenders, and others. Onera's router implement the OpenFin peer-to-peer protocol, originally pioneered by the company. Onera is backed by strategic investors including JP Morgan, US Bancorp, Draper, Gore & Holm, Tokenized Investment AG, etc., etc. So some very large parties playing here in order to get this to go live. Archax being the one where obviously the platform's gone live, and we've got Onera as well, acting as a bit of a broker in between. And of course, coming from the HBAR Foundation, which has probably been doing due diligence behind the scenes. Here was the announcement we saw from Archax themselves. At Digital Assets Week, Archax showcased a landmark in asset tokenization, a live £500,000 MMF trade in token form, leveraging Onera.io Fin peer-to-peer network and integrated into Tomorrow Next platform, a pivotal moment enhancing the access to high-value investments. So that was back in November 16th last year, where effectively they began showcasing, and of course we then saw Aberdeen as well begin tokenizing via Archax, but effectively completing their proof of concept in terms of how this actually functions and works behind the scenes. And clearly it has been very successful, to the point of which BlackRock are now effectively a customer of the Archax platform, which is built natively on Hedera. And of course, they do also have links back into the Ethereum blockchain, but we have seen this money market fund go live on Hedera. Like we said, it is such a big announcement that we have seen the price of the HBAR token rocket 36% in literally the span of a couple of hours. Now, I'm not saying that those prices will hold by any means. Of course, it is always buy the rumor, sell the news type of deal with this information. But what it is for those long-term investors is just goes to show that Hedera are clearly talking to the right people, and institutional level applications can move the needle when it comes to the price of the HBAR token and, of course, the utilization of the network. Jumping across to Archax then before I wrap up this video, we can see directly on here under the investment opportunities, BlackRock are now featuring alongside Aberdeen, which of course have already plopped on a load of their money market funds. But here we can see that ICS US Treasury fund. They've got a Euro version and a Sterling version as well of those different types of money market funds. So clicking through these effectively takes you to more information. So annual fees for them are very, very low. There's different cut-off times, etc., etc. Very exciting announcement. And of course, we'll be watching this very, very closely to see how it unfolds. Potentially, we'll see more tokenization of BlackRock's funds go live. So of course, they've trialed this first of all with a money market fund, which of course is incredibly low risk. And I'm sure they're doing that for a very good reason. And potentially, we'll see that expand to some of their higher volume, higher risk funds as Hedera is becomes a tried, true and trusted partner for tokenizing their assets. Anyway, I'll leave you with the graph of what we've been seeing over the last few hours. Like I said, up nearly 37% now. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment if you've got something to say. I do try and respond to them, as many of them as I possibly can. And until the next one, I'll catch you then. Cheers.